3 groups that have been censored that are not violent and that you won't hear about anywhere else. 1, walkaway movement. The walkaway movement is made up of disenchanted, disillusioned leftists who left the left. And they did so by uploading a video of why I left the left. It was started by a gay man, and it is characterized as having usually voices of non-binary and minority voices who left the left and are tired of being seen as a monolith and as a prop in which the left has kind of rationalized a lot of authoritarianism. And so this group has been censored. All of their posts, all of these testimonials, these videos that I referred to have been taken down and taken off Facebook. And they no longer can that organization is obliterated. So this is a threat really to the narrative. The narrative is your enemies are absolute villains. They are bigots, racists, and white supremacists, and they incite violence. That's currently the narrative. And the walkaway movement is showing a different side. It's showing nuance that demonstrates that's not the full story, and it is not an either-or type of situation. All right? Number 2 group that has been censored that you will not hear about on the news whatsoever, and that is absolutely non-violent and has nothing to do with the events of the current impetus events that happened last week. This group is called Civility Dinners. Civility Dinners is an attempt by, again, a former social justice warrior who left the left, who is attempting to get civil discourse back into our way of thinking so that we can actually end divisiveness and come together, heal, have an open-minded discussion where both people are truly able to air what they think and why, and have this nature of trying to understand and become at it from curiosity and not presumption. Because what do we live in? We live in this current either-or reality that is truly just based on presumption and prejudice. So it assumes that, basically it assumes when a white man is around that he is by default an oppressor and a bigot and a racist and a white supremacist. That is currently revamped as not racist because it's power plus privilege, but we have to admit who has the power here. The power is actually in the authoritarian left. So this Civility Dinners was an attempt to bridge the gap, to bring understanding, and to truly have civility come back into the it's completely nonviolent, and it was censored. Why? Because again, it is very effective at dismantling the narrative that says that this is an evil villain that deserves to be demonized and dehumanized versus the social justice warriors. So that's number 2. Number 3, this is a psychologist named Carlin. She went to, and I'm not giving her last name, but you can look her up. She, you can find her easily. She's on most platforms talking. She's on Locals. She's on Twitter still. She's still on Twitter. However, she has actually lost other. I believe she lost her Facebook. I'm not sure about. I'm not quite sure what her status is, but this is the 3rd person that has been censored in some part. She was someone, again, lifelong leftist, who attended a Trump rally because she was curious, and she was just curious because she wanted to kind of get beyond the either-or villain-hero narrative, and then realized that that narrative was false, and then started to talk about it. And as a result, she actually, well, some people, when they leave the left, they're politically homeless, or sometimes they consider themselves independent, or sometimes they consider themselves moderate. Others actually go into libertarianism or republicanism, and I think that she kind of went into a mix of libertarian and a little right wing. So then she started to give content about that. Especially, she really is someone that characterized TDS and kind of had that psychological perspective and invited psychologists to come on to kind of discuss that with her, which is really, really informative content that's coming from a place of curiosity, reason, and aiming at getting to some version of the truth that is not based in this limbic system kind of trauma, wound, trigger, hero, villain, either or thinking. So these are three organizations or individuals who have been censored in some part. Walkaway was absolutely obliterated. They were completely censored. And Civility Dinners was censored on Twitter, I believe, and Facebook. And so what I'm saying is that these are groups that are, again, not violent. Most of them are characterized as people who were disenchanted leftists, who left the left, because they feared what the authoritarian left could mean for free speech. And then ironically, then they get censored and deplatformed. So this isn't about T getting off or getting kicked off. And this isn't even about the other people, like the typical QAnon. This isn't about those groups. This is actually about how the narrative is constructed, and the narrative is always going to have the complete extreme and then the caricature kind of version that they tell as the story, and they tell that as the absolute truth. The truth, as most complex things, is always more nuanced, and we want to think that way because we're really letting ourselves be pulled and manipulated by our traumas, triggers, wounds, and that's not any sign that it's almost like you are allowing yourself to be mind controlled. And so I just want to share that because this is something that is so important to understand that we don't have to be in the left or right paradigm. We don't have to be in this either or hero, villain, social justice warrior against the bigoted, racist, white supremacists. That's actually a paradigm and a like false reality that many people subscribe to, but it doesn't mean it's reflective of the truth. So think about that.